Well, I was able to go to Comic-Con in New York this year. It was actually my first time to New York Comic-Con. I went last year, but only for the Veve party. This year, I was able to stay for all 4 days. I suppose we should talk about it.
Turn the mic up, check the frame, we clicking. Cross the panel, sleeping man, he's straight ripping. Flipping through the pages.
I was fortunate enough to be able to go to New York Comic-Con, both to see the con and to meet up a bunch with the Veve fam. Super, super fun. Already, if you checked out Twitter or Instagram, there's, all kinds of videos and, different tweets about all the different crazy parties and etc. that went on. And they were fun. I definitely had a good time. I was able to meet with artists and different people from Veve and etc. But I'll kind of start it out with a crazy story that kind of, I guess, explained a lot of my time there. So I was walking through the con. I think it was Saturday, and there, sitting in this kind of on the side table, was Comic Tom, who, if you don't know, is kind of like, the biggest of the big of the comic YouTubers. And I've watched his videos for years and years and years, and so I wanted to introduce myself. And so, I walked up and I said, hi, and I said, I'm Sleeping Comics. And it was really loud. And my voice, you can probably hear it. I've lost half my voice from screaming over, loud music and whatever. And so he says back to me, "Stupid comics?" And I was like, no, Sleeping Comics. And so we kind of went back and forth in that exchange. And obviously he got it in the end. He was the nicest guy ever. And but our exchange only lasted like maybe 60 seconds, maybe a couple minutes or something like that. And I just said thanks and I walked off. And so it's just kind of jarring because when you meet somebody, obviously the first thing you don't want is for them to call you stupid. But after and of course he didn't mean anything by it. It was funny. And then the other thing I thought for a second or two was, wow, that's actually kind of a funny name for a YouTube channel, Stupid Comics. I bet you that would be really actually popular. And if you found the right comics and showed that off, that might be a popular channel. So if someone wants to take that over, Stupid Comics is probably a winner, I would bet. But anyways, kind of more into my experiences there and what I thought. I'm going to do a separate video to kind of show off some of the artists that I met, some of the comics that I were able to purchase, all kinds of fun stuff. But I really wanted to dig in deeper to my impressions on Veve. I think my last video, which was a couple months ago, was right after the Blackpink drop, which didn't go so well in my opinion. I think Veve would actually agree with that too. And really, it felt like where do you go from here? And I had said in that video, I think one of the biggest challenges for them is to try and figure out how to get new users and to really pull people into this space. And so, you wonder, is it waning? Is just, is the era of NFTs over, dead, and gone? And, it's going to move on to something else. The infamous Cabbage Patch Kids type scenario. And if you were at the con, obviously, and you saw the Veve booth, which had, lines out both sides of it, literally, that you had to wait an hour to get in there to buy different types of things, or, the gold logo line was, an hour long. I had to wait for that. So that impression, obviously, was good in terms of the longevity of the company. And the second thing, of course, was they had their own booth. In previous years, they've always shared a booth with Marvel, which was super cool. But I think it limited them because they really needed to only show Marvel stuff. And as we know, they have incredible IP. Lamborghini, Marvel, obviously, and all kinds of other ones. And this year, one of the ones they really highlighted was this Fig Pin. And I wasn't as familiar with them, but their booth also was, really, really had a lot of people and was popular. And so it was kind of, and they did this last year too with Funko. It's this marriage of digital and physical. And so, and it was, really, really popular, believe me. And I was able to get some of the pins, and it was fun. And you have the physical pin, and you can redeem it for an NFT, and, all this other stuff. And so it really, I think, showed me perhaps a little bit of their kind of the way they're going to move forward is to, continue to obviously do the digital collectibles, but to attract new users through this kind of digital and physical marriage. And of course, that's easier said than done. But I think they really tried hard to find the right collectible that it would work with. And it seems like these pins were the right ones. Now, the other thing about these pins is that Fake Pin has their own type of thing where you open up, you put the serial number, you get the mint number. So that audience already kind of is a little bit familiar with mint numbers and digital collectible aspects of it. So I think it's actually quite brilliant. We'll see how that plays out. Obviously, this was just the beginning. The other thing that you saw, which was, we've seen before, but I think is the way they're pushing it, is we saw another one of our favorite YouTube creators, Swaggle House. He had published a comic, and his comic dropped on Veve. So once again, exciting to see his stuff, but Veve trying to work with various other content creators and bring them onto the platform. Can that continue to push the narrative that this is going to be the future? It makes sense, right? They also released the fact that so if you look at, they have Marvel comics, they have ZQ comics, which is the Addiction comic, which came out last year. That's continued to drop. They have this 24/7 comics, which is what Swaggle House is associated with, and this Evermind comic, which is pretty impressive. And then they announced that they have a Blaze and Dynamite comics, which I'm familiar with those. If maybe if you haven't heard those, but they're not obviously a top tier publisher like Marvel or something like that, but definitely have interesting comics that I've purchased over the years. So they just continue to expand their reach, and they'll probably pick up some other independents. Now, of course, the big one to get would be Image. We don't know if they have that, but to partner with them would be a big deal as well. And then DC, they do not have. DC is over with the Candy and has been doing quite well and doing interesting things. And we know Marvel and DC always are kind of at odds, frenemies or whatever you want to call it. So maybe they join up on Veve, or maybe they stay and do their, nobody knows, right? But it just, once again, they continue to kind of Veve flex their muscles as they are able to kind of gobble up more and more of the landscape of comics. I think that if you look at it, from a little bit, 10,000 foot level, the negative would be that the number of people going for drops, especially those drops that are on the Veve comics, which are unique, and I talked about this earlier, but whoa, my battery ran out. I guess that's what I get for not doing videos enough. Rookie mistake, right? But basically what I was saying is that the Veve comics, they drop comics, same day, and so that, is highly significant. We know that no one else has ever done that before. And it seems like they're pretty committed. I don't think they're selling that many comics on that. And the only reason why I say that is you can go in, and that's the significance of blockchain, right? You can see how many are selling, how many are left. And really, it doesn't seem like they're getting much traction with that right now. But you never know, and I know they're going to try other things. I think, as I've stated before, I think the biggest problem with that is really the price point, which brings me to my next point, which I think is really why a lot of this that we've talked about before could work, and that's that it looks like through Halloween or something like that, Veve Comics is going to offer some free comics, which is significant. We know all of the numbers, and I did a video one time about the finances of Marvel, and it's expensive to print books, store books, ship books, the whole game. And so if you're printing them digitally, you're actually never printing them, and they're just, you're just fulfilling it by, pixels going over the internet, right? Your ability to take chances and do all these things is much more elevated. So we'll see what happens with that, but I think, once again, highly significant, especially if you just want to do some reading, right? If you're giving away free stuff, it's free. So that is a huge change, and we'll see where that leads. I think it could, depending on how it works out, and obviously they need to market it. People might not know about it, but I think that's big. The next big piece that I saw, and they announced right at the end, which, once again, Veve does so much, and I could cover it, and a lot of you know what it is, that it's either brilliant or insane, right? And they announced that they are now going to offer this content creator curator tool. They didn't say much about it, and obviously it's still in development. and we do know that sometimes a lot of what Veve does takes a lot longer than they thought. But it will allow independent people to upload their comic and do a drop themselves in Veve. I don't exactly know how it works. They didn't give, but it's significant in that it's, they're basically creating their own publishing ecosystem, kind of like what Amazon has, where if you have a book, you can upload it to their system and publish your book right through Amazon. So really, really innovative. We'll see if it works. We'll see if it's popular. But I do think, once again, Veve is, they're definitely not sitting on their hands. They have new ideas and they're pursuing them. So we'll see where that leads, and that could lead to an entirely new type of ecosystem for creators. So that's pretty exciting. As you may or may not know, Veve itself, I think, is going through some changes. They have hired a co-CEO, Ben Rose. I don't know him. I've never met him. I did watch some videos and interviews with him. But it'll be interesting to see how he changes the company. We don't know, right? That'll be another thing that we'll watch. So I think it's definitely a company that is undergoing a lot of change. They're definitely trying new things, which is what you want to see, and it definitely will be interesting to see what happens over the next couple months. Anyways, that's what I have for you today. Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon.